drink of water here real quick. Obviously a lot of different thoughts over the last couple or few hours as you're, trying to digest all of it. The one thing, and I told my wife this, I unequivocally, feel like this is a much better place than when we started March 29th, 2012 on a lot of fronts. And, I'm really, we really focused on trying to do it with integrity. We did that. We focused on trying to help these guys, our players, grow as people, students, and athletes. That was not a cliche. That was real. And there's no question that numerous players over the course of the 5 years did just that, and I'm really proud of them for that. We had unprecedented success, in the classroom, things that hadn't been done in the history of the program. I'm proud of them for that. So that's something certainly that, I've thought a lot about in the last, in the last couple hours here, and that makes me smile. I'm proud of that, and the staff in the back should be as well. I'll recognize those guys. But the first thank you goes out to the players. Those guys, all the guys we coached over the 5 years. Certainly what they mean to me, our staff, our families. Great respect for those guys, battling through a lot of different things over the 5 years, different challenges, some of which were clearly outside of their control, and the way that they fought, my goodness. And obviously you saw that here at the end of this season. Just really proud of their fight and the way that they just had a never die attitude, and very appreciative of that. Certainly will be forever. I told those guys today when I met with them, once I coach you, you're in for a lifetime. So I'm really proud of the players, and certainly want to start by thanking them. I want to thank our staff, many of which is in the back. Some of our support staff's back there as well, the greatest staff and support staff, and those guys busted their tail and really committed to what we were doing and how we were doing it, and what we were building. And I felt very, very excited about that, and those guys were certainly a big part of it. I also want to thank our loyal, unconditional fans. I'm very appreciative of them. There's a lot of them, just a lot of them, and so we're very thankful for them. And then I want to thank my family. I've got a great family. My wife, Allison, is a rock. My 3 kids, to get a chance to, Kate was born here. In fact, her birthday's in 2 days. Here on Monday, she'll be 2 years old. We'll have fond memories of that, and certainly many more. My boys, the opportunity they got to be around the program and around the university, and here in Champaign-Urbana, the relationships that we developed. My neighbors in the back there, we have a great one throughout our neighborhood. We have great ones throughout both communities in Champaign and Urbana. Just the number of relationships and people, you can tell by, I've had, I think, 171 text messages in the last 2 to 3 hours from, most of them from coaches and friends and family and a lot of people here in the community. So we're just, very, very blessed to have had the opportunity to be at such a special place and to make a difference. And, hopefully my wife, and I remember when we showed up the first day, her and I talked about, trying to keep, we call it keep it real. And, we're here to impact people in the community first and foremost. This thing's about relationships. It's about people. It's always about people. It's always about relationships. And, hopefully in some small way, the Champaign-Urbana community feels like we've, given something, because they've certainly given a lot to us, and we're very thankful for that. Questions? Surprised you. I just didn't have a statement that I'd go with questions, didn't it,
John, Josh's decision surprise you?
Yeah. But that's okay. Like I told him, he has, I've got great respect for him, and he has the right to make any decision that he deems that he wants to make. So, I certainly respect him and the decision that he made.
John, why do you think this hasn't built up to what you wanted it to be here?
Yeah, don't know if I'm going to get into all that, Jeremy, because, I'm one of those guys, I want to learn from every circumstance. I talk about that a lot with the players. We certainly got to do that ourselves as a staff and I think as human beings. And, I haven't had a lot of time here over the last few hours. I have thought about that a little bit. And, I mean, it's no secret. There are some things, I always say that, and I always tell those guys back there at the back that everything falls on me. I'm taking responsibility for everything. Now, has there been some challenges, over the 5 years, that maybe we're outside of our control here and there? Yeah, but at the end of the day, that is what it is. And like I've always taught those guys, the staff, and I've always taught the players, you start by pointing the finger at yourself and you take responsibility for everything when you're a leader. And so that's what I'm going to do. I'm not going to really get into the specifics of what things, you could control, what things you can't. You guys follow certainly the community, university, all those different things. You've got a pulse for that. But now's not the time for that. At the end of the day, it's all on me.
I know you prefer not to look back, but is this a situation where you might find yourself more reflective?
I don't know, Scott, because I try to hit the reset button every year. And in everything that we do, whether it's a game we play or philosophy in a certain area of our program, as a staff, we always take a look, how do we get better? So we're doing that all the time anyway. I don't know if this, all of a sudden makes me, more reflective. They would probably tell you I probably do that too much, but that's my nature. I love to compete, and I love to find ways to do things better. I'm a solutions guy. I'm not the other way around. I always tell them, if you're going to bring me problems, bring me solutions. So, I don't know if it makes me want to reflect any more than normal. We hit the reset button all the time. I think people that are good at what they do that a lot, because it gives them a chance to grow and get better.
John, this year, did you feel like there was a lot of pressure going into this, and how did you feel like you were coaching for your job in the final weeks?
No, I did not. Obviously there's pressure every year, Jeremy. It's the nature of the business. I mean, it is what it is. No, I every day I woke up, got my cup of coffee, and went to work, and really did, the best job we could to keep our guys focused. I think it's probably harder when you're 18 to 22 years old, but and we talked about that before in here. But keeping them focused. But for me, it was one day at a time. My wife's great with that stuff. She really reminds me of that. She's a good checks and balance person for me. And we just took it one game at a time. We did. I think it's a big reason why we played so well late, I do. I think those guys really understood the importance of every day and how every day mattered and how they prepared. And that was something they started living out, and I think that's going to serve those guys well, not only now, but, hopefully this next week and hopefully, as their careers move forward, some of them, and hopefully in life.
You have the 9th-rated recruiting class in the country. How hard is that to walk away from, and what will you have to say to those guys?
Well, it's hard. Derek, I'm not going to act like it isn't. We work really hard to those guys work really hard to put that class together. But I'll have a conversation with them soon.
Is there anything you would have done differently if you could do it again in recruiting, or would you have taken it the same?
I don't have any regrets, Brett, just because of the way we do things, man. I've said that. I don't mean to be redundant, but we go at it now. We compete every day. We fight. Sometimes you make decisions. It's easy to. It reminds me of I can't remember if it was one of you guys or someone else. I think someone asked me the question a few years ago. We played zone the whole second half against Michigan in the comeback, and we were leading, and some of the players in the huddle, they wanted to play man on that last possession, and I rode with the guys, which I would do again, by the way. And someone asked me after the game, they said, hey, would you wish you went zone on that possession? Well, yeah, I do now that I know the outcome. It's easy to do that once you know the outcome. I think when real bullets are flying and you're making real-time decisions, you have to rely on your experience and what it's taught you. And we did that a lot. And there was always, I can assure you, there was always a plan behind every single thing that we did and that we do. Everything's very well thought out.
Did you want to coach in the NIT, John?
Yes. Yeah, I did, but that was not my choice.
How do you move on for this, and what's next for you?
It's a great question. What I do know is that my wife was worried about my daughter's birthday party on Monday, whether I'd be there or not. I will be there. My son plays in a concert on Tuesday night, and he's played in a couple others, and I've had to miss both those. He plays the trumpet, and I'm going to be at that as well. I do know that. I'm gonna pray about it. Obviously, I'm not a guy that necessarily predicts future. You guys know that about me. But one thing I do know is I love to compete. I love competition. I love coaching. Love the game of basketball. More importantly than that, I love building relationships, impacting people, building teams. Getting guys to understand, what it takes, how hard they have to fight, and to do that together. I enjoy that. That I do know. So what comes out of that, we'll see.
When you get a chance to talk to those recruits, you're still going to push the fact that you come to Illinois and honor that commitment that they've made.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, obviously I said this is a special place. I wish this place nothing but success. It's a great place. I feel privileged to have had an opportunity to coach on that sidelines here for 5 years.
What was it like talking to Tracy and Malcolm, players you've been around for this your entire career here? What was that, like knowing you went through, ups and downs with them for quite a while?
Yeah, what's hard, obviously, I love those guys. Those are my guys. I love them. But as I told them, the most important thing is that they fight, and they keep fighting. That's what they've done. When a lot of people had them out for pasture a while back. So they fight, and that's what they've got to continue to do, and I'm confident that they will.
Anything else for John today?
Coach was speaking today, sort of in your eyes, a way to thank the people that have been around you. Is that your sort of main goal?
Yeah, I did that earlier. Obviously, relationships are what this thing's about. We've got a lot of great ones, man, over the 5 years, even with you guys. So we've it's like I said, it's been a privilege. It's been a real blessing. I know my wife feels that way. Her and I talked here as this thing unfolded rather quickly this afternoon, and we're grateful. What we immediately did was pray, and just thank God for the opportunity that we've had to be here and be around so many different people that we've developed special relationships with. And like I said, our hope is that the numerous people have impacted us at a very, very high level, and that's what's made it fun to be here. We hope that in some small way we've impacted at least one or two people.
John, what do you see next for you?
They asked a question there in the back. We'll see, Derek. We'll see. Like I said, I love to compete. I love building teams. Relationships are important to me. I enjoy all those things. So we'll see. I'll let God blaze that path.
Yeah, John. Well, first you said, keeping it real. That's what you do. I don't think you can keep it any more real than coming here after being fired. So we appreciate that.
Oh, no problem. I'm not a Dodger.
What's your final message to Illini fans?
What I said earlier, I really do believe, especially with these guys. By no means am I trying to turn the page on them. They still got basketball to play this season, and there's not going to be anyone that's a bigger fan of those guys than me now. So they've got to come out and fight, and I'm confident that they will. But I also know who's coming back, who's on that, who was recruited. I know how those things were going. So that's why I said what I said earlier. I know what our guys have done from a graduation perspective. I know what records have been broken academically. I know who they've become as people, how they've matured and how they've grown. I'm not I think about those seniors and where they were, a couple of those guys 3 or 4 years ago. Now they look you in the eye. They know how to express themselves better. That's life stuff, So for me, the message is really simple, and that's it. It's clearly in my mind at a better place than it was on March 29th, 2012. So that part they should feel good about.
Coach, do you plan on going to graduation then to see your seniors, kind of send off?
We'll see. Like I said, the only thing I know is that I've obviously got a few text and phone calls to return. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get to all those. So anyone that did that's out there, if you watch this, thank you. I'm not being rude by not getting back to you. There's a lot of them. And then my daughter's birthday party and my son's concert. I know I'm doing those two things, Monday and Tuesday. So graduation, obviously, is a special day. And that's a big reason why those guys, a lot of them come here, is to have the opportunity to earn that degree. And one way or the other, if I'm there, great. If I'm not, I'll certainly reach out to them. I'm proud of them. That's a lot of degrees in that class, a lot of degrees.
Okay. Thank you, John.
Thank you.